when you take your physical body, energy levels, critical thinking, and then your mindset on top by all these different protocols, you are now going to be a much better version of you, which will lead to a much greater result in terms of your economic success. Hi, this is Coach Joe Lucas, and welcome to the Magellan Network Show. My goal inside of this communication, this show, is to share with you my nearly 30 years of coaching some of the most successful financial advisors in North America. We're going to be talking about strategies, syntaxes. We're going to be bringing guests on from time to time, and I'm going to share with you what's working now. So think of this show as sort of like a little one-on-one kind of mini coaching cast, if you like, where we're going to be going in depth from time to time on strategies to help you grow your business, get more effective, become more efficient, find balance in your time management, grow your business, and quite frankly, whatever else is going on in the world today. So before we get to today's episode, I'd love for you to do a couple things for me. Number one, make sure that if you're watching this on YouTube, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're doing the audio, make sure that you give us a review on whether it's Spotify or Apple. We'd really appreciate that. And quite frankly, that does help. It does matter when you rate things and like things and subscribe to things. It helps us get the word out to more of the industry. And lastly, I have a very special gift for you. Go to MagellanNetwork.net, so one word, MagellanNetwork.net, and I have for you a complimentary membership, 100% gratis, where you can tap into about between 50 and 75 hours of masterclasses, forms, tools, templates, and strategies. So please go ahead and make sure you go ahead and get that claimed. Smash the like button and subscribe. And please go ahead and leave us a review on whatever podcasting platform you're on. And now, let's get to this week's episode. Hi, it's your coach, Joe Lucas, and welcome to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. In this episode, what I want to talk about are the three energies every advisor needs to bring to their game each and every day to max out their success. Before we get into that, as many of you know, we don't charge for this podcast. We don't accept advertisers. We don't make a lot of offers. All I ask that you do, if you find this valuable, to subscribe, to share with your friends and colleagues in this game. And with that, let's get into our conversation for today. Success is a business of energy. And in my nearly 30 years of coaching financial advisors, I've determined there are three energies every advisor must bring to the game. Now, why do I say that? Because nothing to me is more sinister than having a great business plan, a great set of goals, a great vision, right? All these, like, here's what I'm going to do. And you get up in the morning and you just don't have the gas in the tank to do it, right? And there's a hierarchy of these energies, okay? So the first one I'm going to talk about is physical energy. So physical fitness, physical vibrancy, right? Because we've all had this experience, right? Where maybe we catch a cold or something, but yet we kind of say, well, I got to come in today. I got to go play my game. And you're just there. You're not really driving any results. You're kind of playing a shopkeeper, caretaker. You're not applying yourself. You're cheating your clients because you're not at your best self while you're talking to them, doing reviews, things like that. So physical fitness / energy / vibrancy is the base of the pyramid in terms of that. Now, I will tell you in my career, I cannot sit here and say to you with any data, go get a CFP or CFA or anything like that. And RSIP or any of those acronyms at the end of your name, because that will make you more money. Because the reality is I don't have that data. I mean, I run across a lot of advisors who have a CFP, have an MBA, who are very designation heavy, and yet they struggle for success. So I can't tell you that, okay? What I can tell you is that if you're not healthy, if you're not fit, and you make that a priority. So here's the lie we all tell ourselves. I'm too busy. My schedule doesn't allow it. I've got too many things going on. My to-do list is too big. That is the narrative you tell yourself to abdicate your responsibility to be the best version of you, period. So if you're suffering from a lack of energy, if you have a personal energy crisis, I can definitely correlate better physical fitness, better vibrancy to better production. The more gas in the tank you have, the more you wake up, rest and recovered, they're ready to go, you're going to go do great things, period. This is a business of energy, okay? So I want you, if you're not already thinking this way, here's how I need you to think, or here's how I'd like you to think. Can't make you. I want you to take on the identity of an athlete. And part of that identity is being physically fit. Again, I'm not asking you to go get into marathon shape or anything crazy like that. I just need you to be healthy, right? I need you to be healthy and have energy. Because I know you'll produce more every day. And I don't mean just in terms of revenue. I mean in terms of actions, activities, the quality of your communication, the quality of your views, the quality of your interaction with people are just going to be at a much higher level. You're going to have more impact with other human beings, which is that's the name of our game. So if you're not already doing so, make physical energy, fitness, health, vibrancy a key component. Now, I will share this, and I've only had this happen once, but it was enough for me to make clients work with me personally. We're always talking about health and fitness. We're always talking about energy. We're always talking about vibrancy. Why? Because about 17 years ago, I was working with a client, this was like a 37-year-old person at a major wirehouse. And we had started about 4 or 5 months, and this is like when we called. This is before the eras of Zoom. So I'd call, hey, is John there? And I remember they said, I heard the voice of the receptionist, and she's like, who are you? I said, well, I'm Joe Lukacs. I'm his coach. I've got a call scheduled with him right now. Is he available? And I remember, she goes, let me put you on hold for a moment. And like 30 seconds to 45 seconds later, his branch manager comes on. It's so long ago, but I remember John's last name. I can tell you where firm he was at. I can tell you what branch he was at. I can tell you what city he was at. I get on the phone, and the branch manager goes, hi, who is this again? This is my name is Joe Lukacs. I'm John's coach, stuff like that. And he goes, I don't know how else to tell you this, but John passed away this weekend. A 37-year-old should not pass away. So I was like, I remember I said, can you say that again? Come at me again. He goes, yeah, John passed away the weekend. He was at his ranch. He was riding a horse, and he had a massive heart attack, and he dropped dead. He was dead by the time he hit the ground. What makes this sad is not just that, but his wife was pregnant for the very first time with twins. And like, how's this person going to pick up those pieces? And I swore to myself that I would never, ever, ever again be solely focused on my client's economic well-being. That we are going to have it all. And in having it all, that means that we're going to be around for a very long, long time. Now, granted, we don't control everything. But I'm telling you right now, you don't take care of you, do not pay that ultimate price. Especially in this game, when there are really no excuses. You have time. Don't tell me you don't. You do. You just don't make it a priority. If I said to you, hi, Coach Joe Lukacs here, and I'm just breaking here for a moment just to do a couple quick reminders. Number one, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel or our podcast. In addition, please leave a comment or a review. Those things really, really matter. And share this episode with 3 of your colleagues inside the financial services space. And lastly, make sure that you go ahead and claim your free membership inside of Magellan Network. Now back to this week's episode. Increase your health by 25%, and you'll increase your income by 25%. I can correlate that. You would want to do that 100%. And you just have a higher quality life. So the first energy is physical energy. The next energy is what we call mental energy. Now, what is mental energy? Mental energy is what I call critical thinking, problem solving, right? When you're sitting with a client or a prospect and they have a problem, they have an issue, they have concern. You're sitting and doing an analysis for a client. You're coming up with a financial plan. You're thinking about strategies. That is, again, mental energy. You cannot have mental energy without physical energy being present. You just cannot. So physical energy has to be present at all times, okay? Bottom line. When you have mental energy, then all of a sudden, now you're able to critically think at a higher level, you produce greater outcomes, elements like that. The third energy is emotional energy. Now, what is emotional energy? Emotional energy is the ability to influence and persuade clients, prospects, team members to take action because it's in their best interest. It is a transfer of emotions. That's what it is. So in order to have that emotional energy, guess what? You've got to have that physical energy. So all these energies are critical for your success. But the bottom of the pyramid, the baseline of it all, is going to be your physical energy. Again, I'm not a health coach. I'm not a doctor. There are resources. Figure it out. The other two, the mental energy, is a byproduct of not just physical fitness, but of rest and recovery. So in other words, getting proper sleep, getting up, and being focused. Emotional energy is about what I call inputs. So your mental state is not only affected by, again, your physical energy, it's also affected by, obviously, your mindset. And a big part of your mindset and how it's affected is by what goes in it each and every day. So, for example, if you start your day out with the news and email and all this other information, most of it bad, by the way, right? It will probably put you in a state of mind where you are not in the best state to go ahead and influence other people. The way I would explain it to somebody is you're trying to be an elite athlete and you go to Krispy Kreme every morning for breakfast. That is probably not going to be congruent to the mission, right? But yet, mentally and emotionally, that is what we do with our head because we're eating sugar for breakfast, right? It's called the news. It's called all this other stuff, right? So one of the things you can definitely go do in the morning, we have a brand new protocol. We call it the Magellan Power Hour. So basically, I'm going to give it to you in 2 minutes, very Cliff Note version here to help everybody here. And then we're going to get you guys out of here. So first off, you need an hour. And before some of you sit there and say, well, Joe, I'm not a morning person or I can't get up early enough. That is the narrative, again, you're telling yourself because it's easy to say so. It's easy to advocate responsibility. If you are truly 100% committed to your success, and I say that with the utmost respect, you would find the hour. So the first hour of the day here, and I mean the very first hour, number one, we do not reach for our mobile device. For the first 15 to 30 minutes, you get up, you get your favorite morning beverage, hopefully it doesn't have any alcohol in it, right? You're going to think and strategically think and maybe meditate or pray or have some quiet time, whatever you do, 15 to 30 minutes. You can journal in that period of time, but it has to be a hardbound journal. Again, no electronics, no technology. We don't do that. The next thing you're going to do after that quiet period, again, whether it's 15 or 30 minutes, now you're going to go ahead and look at your daily game plan, your goals. Like you're going to get mentally prepped to be excellent. We've got a whole protocol inside of Magellan Network. The other thing you're going to do is you're going to get some mental diet. So instead of sugar, i.e. the news in the morning, read an inspirational book. Watch some inspirational YouTube videos. If you're a member of our core program inside Magellan Network, every morning at 5 a.m., you know I post a 5 to 8 minute coaching video every morning. Whatever you're going to do, you get your head around that. Just like athletes, before they get ready to be excellent, you need to take the first hour of your day as a pre-game or pre-day ritual that will put you in the best mode. So after you do all these things, Like I said, inside the network, we've got a protocol. Then maybe some exercise, some stretching, things like that. Gratitude. One of the things we teach in our protocol is every morning do one act of gratitude, maybe sending somebody an email. Could be a client, a family, friend. Could be somebody who's had an impact in your life. Depending on the time zone, maybe it's a text message, or maybe it's just a conversation, or maybe you just think to be grateful for that day. But you always start the day with gratitude. When you take your physical body, energy levels, critical thinking, and then your mindset on top by all these different protocols, you're now going to be a much better version of you, which will lead to a much greater result in terms of your economic success and your impact. Okay? So that is our conversation for today. Again, if you found this valuable, please forward this to friends and colleagues. Please make sure you subscribe to our new YouTube channel. And I will see you next week for the next episode of the Magellan Network Show. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Magellan Network Show. Hey, if any of this resonated with you, I invite you to come to MagellanNetwork.net, and we have a powerful group coaching community of like-minded advisors. Come in for a trial. You and I will have a one-on-one conversation. Let's see if I can help elevate your game, both personally and professionally.